Hi, Elena.
Yes.
Okay, so is everybody with us now?
Uh, Elsa and Chloe
Elsa and Chloe?
is not
Okay,
here, but I also sent them a message.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. Is Elsa and Chloe actually the next presenters, right, after Jennifer?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, before our class today, just a quick reminder that after the presentations today, you're gonna have about like 5 days or so to vote. Actually, more than 5 days until next Wednesday, all right? To vote the best awards, okay? Right. So the first one will be Excellence in Qualitative Methodology Award. And second one is Best Presentation Award. And third one is the Best Paper Award. Okay. Right. And so after the presentation, Elena will send you a link so that you will be able to vote, okay, for the 3 awards by next Wednesday. All right. It's the time. So Jennifer, please get started with your presentation.
Okay.
Jennifer, you can get started.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My topic for today is enhancing English language acquisition in rural India, the role of self-selected reading and educator strategy. So initially during the individual conference, my topic was a bit different, which was impact of self-selected reading. But then I modified my topic because I didn't get any participants. I think this topic is the best that could suit what I really want to do. And I'm going to talk about the introduction, literature review, research questions, methodology, data collection and analysis, and my preliminary findings. So in the introduction itself, I would also share the motivation of choosing this topic because it is somewhat related to self-selected reading, which I never got to do in India. So I want the students in India to know the joy of reading, and I want them to choose their own books and get language acquisition in that way. And there are two main people here who I would like to mention in my introduction itself, which is Stephen Krashen and Donald Miller. So both have a important role in this research. And in Stephen Krashen, the power of reading has shown that reading because you want to is incredibly effective, and it's not about learning new words or grammar, it's about getting involved. So involved in a story that you forget you are learning a language. And also Donald Miller's book, which is The Book Whisperer, it reminds us that students need to feel free to explore books that speak to them, but they also need teachers to know how to support and guide this exploration. And second is literature review. I have divided the literature review in three different parts. One is self-selected reading, which is, I'll mention the theoretical foundation and perspectives. And then second is self-selected reading and language acquisition. Third is key strategies and support mechanism for mediating self-selected reading, which has already been found out in the previous years. So I have only mentioned two to three literature here in the PPT, but in my paper it is a well elaborated one. So, so for the self-selected reading theoretical foundation, I have two papers, which is this is central to reader's response theory, articulated by Rosenwald in 1978, which proposes that readers' engagement and interpretation plays a critical role in reading experience. And this theory supports an idea of self-selected reading by emphasizing the value of personal choice and emotional connection to the reading material. Also, we have Krashen's input hypothesis, 1982, which provides a linguistic foundation for self-selected reading and suggesting that comprehensible and interesting input is essential for language acquisition. And this hypothesis aligns with the principle of self-selected reading, where learners are more likely to engage with text that are both understandable and of personal interest. And then next we have self-selected reading and language acquisition. So in the year 1991, Ellie demonstrated that self-selected reading significantly contributes to the vocabulary acquisition and and the overall language proficiency. And then in 2018, Yashmashita, she had the same findings, and it was a higher improvement in her reading comprehension and fluency through self-selected reading. We have the key strategies and support mechanisms for mediating self-selected reading by educators. So, Lowe 2017 emphasized that importance of educators' role in particularly crucial in multilingual and multicultural classrooms. So, an Indian classroom where there are lots of different languages spoken, and I think this literature really suits and gives a foundation for my research. We have Singh and Samuel in 2020, which highlights cultural relevant materials, and creation of supporting reading environment is a crucial part. And we have Sharma Griffith to 2022 explored the integration of technology in self-selected reading to access diverse reading materials. And we have Patel and Jain in 2021 emphasized that educators need to be equipped with the skills to guide the students. So I would like to talk about the gap in the existing literature and what contribution does my research give in this field. So while previous studies have laid a foundation in understanding self-selected reading and educator strategy in language acquisition, but there remains a gap in comprehensively exploring how these strategies can be effectively mediated and implemented in a rural context. So furthermore, it seeks to determine whether self-selected reading can be a bridge, uh, can bridge the language acquisition gap between rural and urban India. So here are my research questions, which is what are the key strategies and support mechanisms required for educators to successfully mediate self-selected reading? And can self-selected reading bridge the gap of English language acquisition between rural and urban India? So the methodology used is a qualitative research. The research design is qualitative, and data collection method is a semi-structured interview. Sampling is a purposive sampling which I selected my participants, and data analysis technique is a thematic analysis wherein I find the themes and codes and generate my findings. The reason for the theoretical aspect of why interview is the qualitative research interview seeks to describe and understand the meaning of central themes in real world of subjects. The main task in interviewing is to understand the meaning of what the interview says, and I think the participants that I chose would be very relatable to the real life experience that they have. And these are my participants. There are two participants. One is Dr. T. Pushpanathan. He is from India. He's an assistant professor and an active researcher. And second is Malar Pushpanathan, who is our first researcher's wife, also his wife, and an English teacher in rural India. So they both have been conducting self-selected reading. Initially, it was only the first participant. Then further on, because he motivated the second participant, as he is also her husband. So they both started doing a bit of self-selected reading in rural India, in those classrooms. And so the interview questions that I generated was through this theory, which is Vygotsky's social cultural theory. This theoretical framework proposes the fundamental role of development in cognition, and I think this I have generated. I picked out questions related to this theory, and then I have made changes according to what I actually need for my research answers. So I'll just quickly talk about pre, during, and the post interview. I have sent questions beforehand. I took verbal consent from both of them because it's just for academic purpose, and they opted out from recording the interview. So I used note-taking methods and to collect all my data. And then during the interview, it was a comfortable and a candid environment. And the conversation mostly was in Tamil, which is my native language, and they were very comfortable in speaking in that language. So I spoke to them in Tamil. I got to listen the conversation in Tamil, but I wrote down my notes in English so that I don't need to translate later on, and that saved a lot of time. Post interview, I did the transcription just after the interview to not to avoid any mistakes or any missing out any details. I used thematic data analysis for coding and information, and then group all these codings into a wider theme, which corresponds to the research question. My preliminary findings are these: educator strategy, learning style and accommodation, and monitoring and assessment are the three main themes that I found. And in that, we have codes, which is step-by-step introduction, material selection, motivation, and here we have diverse materials, activity variety, reading log, and student discussions. And all these are centralized towards one aspect, which is bridging the language gap. So I have found these findings, and I tried to put this in a diagram as well, which is a Venn diagram of self-selected reading. We have educator strategy, learning styles, and monitoring, which altogether forms gives an aspect of building the language gap between urban and rural area. So to explain in a simplified way, I have also added this diagram, which is a thematic map of self-selected reading strategies, which um also says the same thing like in the previous diagram, but in a more easier way. I have explained all these things in my paper, and I think I still need to write like what exactly I have found for both the questions. I have found the answers, but I need to frame everything. So my fellow classmates, if you have any suggestions for me, you can just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer. So it's time for you and me, and also for the rest of the class. Hey, yeah, a lot of claps. Okay, encouragement for you, Jennifer. So let's move on to our discussion forum, and the rest of the class, please offer some comments and feedback for Jennifer. Let's go, Jennifer.